So we need to recognize our value. We need to, when we are on our own, once in a while, when we are on our own at home, once in a month, once in a week, ask ourselves that you are Hafidh of the Qur'an, you are Alim of the Qur'an, you are Hamilul Qur'an, you are from the Ahlul Qur'an. Allah has been so kind to you. Are you fulfilling the rights of being the Hamilul Qur'an, Hafidhul Qur'an? We all have shortcomings. We all have our shortcomings. In this world we all have ups and downs. But until we do not keeping the hereafter in mind, keeping the grave in mind, ask questions. And after asking questions, contemplating, if we do not come to some kind of conclusion, then we will be in trouble. But if we do not become neglectful of the hereafter, and if we continue to question ourselves, who am I? What am I? How do the public perceive me? So non-huffaz should recite 1 juz daily, and the huffaz should recite 3 juz. And some of us become so neglectful, and we make our life so busy in other matters that never mind 3 juz, never mind 3 ruku, we are unable to even recite 3 ayat. Days and months pass, but we are unable to complete the glorious Qur'an. Qur'an is difficult to put to memory, but it is very easy to lose it from memory. And once we lose it, then we can't pull ourselves together. And we just don't realize what a great ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have lost. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that it is the riwayah of Tirmidhi Sharif, that Jibreel alayhi salam came to me and he came with 2 lists. On one list were all the good deeds that a person can perform in this world. On the other were all the evil deeds that a person can do in this world. He said at the top of the list of the evils, I saw written that a person who memorizes a portion of the Qur'an and thereafter forgets. A person memorizes a portion of the Qur'an, say Suratul Fil or Suratul Fatiha, or in Makatib lot of people memorize Suratul Mulk, Suratul Yasin, and people tend to think that the warnings for forgetting the Qur'an that have been mentioned by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are only for those people who have become complete huffaz. No. Even one verse, if a person memorizes a portion of the Quran, an ayat from the Quran, and thereafter he forgets, the Prophet ﷺ said that sin was top of the list. And according to some mufassirin, the tafsir of these verses, man a'rada an dhikri, one who turns his face away from my Quran, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ, then for him will be a life full of difficulties. Life full of difficulties. Now, life full of difficulties, he will have dollars, pounds, good house, good car, everything. But he will not feel content. Peace of mind will not be there. Sometimes wife will become a problem, children will become problem, some other problem, some illness, some sickness, some tension will always remain with him. He will have a very rough life. فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ عَامًا, and we will resurrect him on the day of Qiyamah as a blind person. He will be blind on the day of Qiyamah. He will be struggling to walk. He will be struggling to find his destination. And he will say, رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي عَامًا وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Oh Allah, my eyes were perfect in the world. Why have you resurrected me as a blind person? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. My ayat came to you. My ayat, that means my ayat came to you and I gave you the tawfiq to memorize those ayat and make your heart the treasure of those ayat. But you neglected those ayat. So today on the day of Qiyamah, I will neglect you. You will be neglected today. So this is the first thing we need to do. We need to recognize our value and start the recitation of the Qur'an. I tell my Huffaz friend that Shaitan will always worry you and he will say that yes, it is necessary, it is a big sin that I have forgotten the Qur'an and I want to memorize it, but it's too difficult. I've forgotten the whole Qur'an. If it was possible to memorize the Qur'an the very first time, then the second time it's even more easier. It's only Shaitan putting this obstacle. So make this intention that okay, I'm going to revise and revisit the Qur'an, and find an ustad, find a fellow hafiz, a colleague, and say to him that can you listen to one ruku every day? Or whatever I am able to read. In the initial stages you will come with 3 ayat, 4 ayat, 5 ayat, and then look at the barakah. Then look at the barakah. Within year and a half, you'll have the full Quran under control, inshallah. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. We have made Quran easy to memorize. Is there anybody who wishes to memorize? When a person repents, sincerely turns to Allah, and thereafter continue recitation. Continue recitation of the Quran. Continue recitation of the Quran. Layani, we spend a lot of time in layani, something that neither benefits us in this world nor in the hereafter. That is a sheer waste of life. Sheer waste of life. Something that doesn't benefit in this world nor in the hereafter. We just sit in talking about politics, talking about football, talking about cricket for hours and hours. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So sinful activity should be discarded. Layani should also be discarded. Layani, we are young, we like to sit with friends and talk, maybe go out for a picnic. Okay, fine. But limit your time. Not without thinking. Layani should also be discarded. And we need to behave in such a way that our ulama and our pious predecessors used to behave, especially with the public. And there are so many wrong things that we can do when we are alone in the darkness of the night. Especially the internet is very, very dangerous. Internet is very, very dangerous for religious people. For irreligious people, they don't have to go onto the internet to do wrong. They are already doing it outside, openly. For religious people, night time and internet is very dangerous. Because your intention will be to go and look at the news on BBC, and slowly you'll drift away. There are so many religious people who come, who are spiritually connected and who complain and say, this is my problem. And until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the person is on the net. Tahajjud is on one side, he cannot even wake up for Fajr Salat. So what we need to do is worry about ourselves, have concern for ourselves. If we don't have concern for ourselves, who is going to have concern for ourselves? And we have to always remember, Umar radiyallahu anhu used to say, Hasibu qabla an tuhasabu. Reckon yourself before you are reckoned on the day of Qiyamah. Wazinu qabla an tuzanu, and value yourself before you are valued by Allah on the day of Qiyamah. وَتَأَهَّبُوا لِلْعَرَضِ الْأَكْبَرِ, and prepare yourself for the supreme court that is to come in the hereafter. This is where I would like to end. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.